In the Nashville region, we project by 2019 that we will have a shortage of 35,000 people to fill the jobs that we're creating in this robust economy. So for a chamber to not be concerned about this, we are such a natural consensus point to have this discussion around community prosperity that we have to be at this table.
For a lot of reasons, getting to a higher level of educational attainment is a very important, perhaps the most important thing that we collectively should share as a value as a country going forward. The problem is, we're not doing a heck of a good job of producing the talent that we need right now in the current system.
Just the unfilled jobs in America, the businesses already want to fill, but can't fill because kids aren't ready, amounts to a standing recession on top of the Great Recession. So I think the stakes are pretty high for whether or not K through 12 schooling, higher ed, and business can cooperate to make sure that employees bring 21st century skills to the table.
What's at stake? So much. I mean, the skills gap is huge. In the state of Washington, it's somewhere around about 50,000 unfilled jobs by 2020. And so what's at stake is that we can't just keep doing the work that we've been doing the same way, because we're going to get the same results.
We know that we're going to create in our economy about 55 million jobs by 2020. 65% of the population of the jobs created in 2020 are going to require some form of post-secondary certification or credential. We've got an attainment rate right now of about 40%, so we're nowhere close to meeting this.
We know there's going to be a job shortage coming up. A lot of retirees, a lot of other people leaving the workforce, and we keep hearing from our employers that they don't have the students and then the skills to fill those jobs.
So all in, what we're talking about is a pretty severe mismatch between our current production of credentialed people and our economy that's going to happen in 5 years. So we need to hit the gas.
Chamber executives have a unique leadership role in their communities, and ACCE as an organization, I think, has a lot of untapped potential in terms of being a major influencer in the education and the broader talent development debates that we have in this country.
So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what I think the sector often calls soft skills. And I'm going to try and, I think, make the argument that soft is the new hard in the economy today, in higher ed, and in life.
When we think about deeper learning, which we would say is critical thinking and problem solving and communication and collaboration and teamwork and learning how to learn and academic mindsets all applied to much more rigorous academic content, it's the business community that knows, along with the higher education community, how important those skills are for kids to achieve.
We have done a lot of work in determining the hard skills gap in our community, but the one common denominator among every industry and every company is professionalism, critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, so many of those 21st century skills. So one of the biggest challenges that we have is to truly identify what those skills are, ensure that they are of great priority for all of our businesses, and then begin addressing them from a policy standpoint, from a system standpoint, from an application standpoint. As an organization, we also recognize that we have a role to play in facilitating that dialogue and even really facilitating programs and events that support that.
It is the business sector's responsibility to engage in education as long as the business sector will continue to need better qualified, better educated workforce.
You can do well and do good by investing in talent development and deployment as a company if you actually see it as part of both the near-term and the long-term strategy that you have for your business. Employers have a really big stick here and have a lot of ability to have some influence.
An opportunity with business being involved in education and workforce development is the resources that they have to bring to bear on it. How much training they're already spending in workforce development and education internally? And how can we leverage that for students in general to have better experiences, to have better opportunities to see their future earlier and make better plans for themselves? So to me, it's such a vital component to have businesses integrated into that. And then by extension, chambers are such a natural fit. I mean, we are the associations for business communities, and we represent them. And so for us to be taking what we hear in the aggregate and knowing that businesses are telling us we have these needs, we have these kinds of resources we could bring to bear on these needs, it would not make sense for us not to then take that back to our partners in education and workforce development and say, how can we help bridge this gap?
We can complain very much about our issues or the challenges that our community is experiencing, but when we actually come together to think about how do we make sure that we have a workforce to meet the need of our manufacturing community, and what's that going to take across the K-12 system, the higher ed system, and the role that employers play, the result is massive and really can change and be a catalyst for the community.
Business people being involved in education, for the most part, are not there to tell educators how to educate our youth. Likewise, the educators in the room who are truly there to collaborate are not there to tell business how to prepare their workforce. That together is the only way we can get it accomplished. And by working together, communicating with one another, getting each to understand the challenges the other faces is really the roadmap to success. Anybody who's in the chamber world has to enjoy the experience of facing challenges and trying to overcome them. And in education, the challenges are many.
Education is our #1 priority at the chamber. We had something with Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act come up. We actually were really aggressive and said to the state, we want to be a part of this state unified plan, and we want to sit at the table and make sure that it's making sense to the workforce.
Chambers play this very unique role in communities where they represent business, they represent community organizations, and they also serve in that dual role as, they're looked upon as business organizations, but they're also very oriented in their community. Their goals of increasing competitiveness, increasing quality of life are exactly what higher education does.
We are on the forefront of setting the economic strategy for our communities. So the role that we as economic development organizations play is really understanding our economy and the unique roles that they have, and then matching and aligning the outputs of our education system to the true needs of our economy and our labor force.
I think if you're a business leader and you're not a part of the Chamber of Commerce Executives EAD program, and you're not really thinking about education and workforce development issues, you're missing the bus a little bit. It can be easy to think just about tax policy or just about regional business stuff that you're involved in, but your long-term play is workforce capacity. And the LA Chamber and ACCE are really setting the table for that long-term discussion in the United States.
Sometimes when we do education and workforce, it's not necessarily the typical to the chamber work, and many times you can feel like you're almost alone in your own community. And what the fellowships allowed us to do is bring together such a diverse set of chamber professionals that are all playing a unique role in this education and workforce conversation through their chambers.
The peer group that I have access to and the information that is built out under the EAD activities have been invaluable to me. When I run into an opportunity or a problem that I'm trying to puzzle through, the ability to pick up the phone and or research who is working in that space and talk to them about what keeps them up at night, where they've run into roadblocks, how they've solved those, where they've created relationships and coalitions within their community, and how they've problem solved some really sticky situations is hugely valuable.
One thing we wanted to kind of focus on for Cradle to Career is an event that would bring all school sectors together in Milwaukee. Now, this isn't by any means our own idea. We're completely stealing somebody else's idea, but we've never seen a good idea that we don't like to use.
Be patient, be persistent, and stay at it.
If not you, then who?